Have you ever wondered how a small city on the Italian peninsula grew to become one of the most powerful empires in history? Well, buckle up, because today on History Archive we're about to embark on a journey back in time. Picture this, a bustling city-state founded on the banks of the river Tiber, supposedly by the mythical twins Romulus and Remus. These feisty brothers, raised by a she-wolf no less, set the stage for what would become a grand empire. The innovative Roman constitution, an early model of checks and balances, played a pivotal role in Rome's rise. The Romans cleverly divided power among different branches of government, a concept so impressive it's still around today. Yes, the Romans were truly ahead of their time. So while it's true that Rome wasn't built in a day, it's safe to say that the foundations of a mighty empire had been laid, and they were just getting warmed up. So we've got a republic brimming with potential, but how did it morph into an empire? Well, buckle up, because things are about to get interesting. Enter stage left, Julius Caesar, a remarkable man of ambition and charisma. He was the kind of guy who'd give a lion a haircut and live to tell the tale. He was the man who came, saw, and conquered the political scene. His rise to power was as swift as a Roman chariot race. With a little bit of cunning, a dash of ruthlessness, and a whole lot of public support, Caesar managed to secure himself as the head honcho of Rome. But you know what they say about power, right? It's like a good wine, intoxicating, and you always want more. Caesar's thirst for power led him to declare himself dictator for life. Talk about taking your job too seriously. But it wasn't all gladiatorial games and grape feeding. Caesar's reign was marked by significant reforms that brought prosperity and stability. But alas, the Ides of March rolled around, and Caesar's story reached an untimely end. But fear not, dear listeners, for out of the ashes rose another figure, Augustus, Caesar's adopted son. He was the sequel to Caesar's blockbuster, the cherry on top of the Roman cake. Under his rule, the shift from republic to empire was completed. And just like that, the Roman Republic was out, and the Roman Empire was in. Talk about a historical plot twist. All right, we've got our empire. Now, what made it so great? At its peak, the Roman Empire was a force to be reckoned with. Stretching from the sunny shores of Spain to the chilly climes of Britain, and from the shadowy forests of Germany to the sun-baked sands of Egypt, it was a vast territorial titan. But it wasn't just the size that counted. The Romans were innovators and builders, the likes of which the world had rarely seen. They were the original road trippers, constructing a network of roads that spanned the empire. And no, they didn't have GPS. But with their extensive road network, Romans could pretty much say, all roads lead to us. And let's not forget about the aqueducts. These were the Roman answer to the water supply problem. They were grand structures that gracefully arched across the landscape, bringing fresh water to cities and towns. It was like having your own personal water delivery service, Roman style. Then there was the Pax Romana, a 200-year period of peace and stability. Imagine that, 2 centuries without a single Game of Thrones-style power struggle. But it wasn't all laurels and togas. The Roman Empire had its fair share of problems too. And as they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So, how did this seemingly invincible empire crumble, you may ask? Well, buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey of decline and fall, filled with economic crises, military overspending, the rise of the East, and of course, some barbaric problems. First off, let's talk money. Rome was a bit like that friend who's always buying rounds at the bar, but never seems to have enough for rent. The empire was constantly at war, and those wars didn't come cheap. To keep the military machine running, Rome began to devalue its currency. This led to inflation, economic instability, and eventually, economic crisis. It's safe to say, Rome was in dire need of a financial advisor. But that's not all. Their military spending was as out of control as a gladiator on a caffeine high. Rome's military was massive, and maintaining it was like trying to fill a Colosseum with a teaspoon. The cost was astronomical, and it was a burden the economy just couldn't bear. Then there was the rise of the East. The Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, was growing in power and wealth. As they say, the grass is always greener on the other side, and many Romans were drawn towards the flourishing East, leaving the West to languish. And lastly, we have the invasion of the barbarian tribes. Now, Rome had its fair share of issues, but these tribes were like the uninvited dinner guests who not only eat all your food, but also take your favorite chair. The Visigoths, Vandals, and Ostrogoths, to name a few, chipped away at Rome's territories, leading to the eventual sacking of Rome. Turns out, even Rome had its barbaric problems. So there you have it. The Roman Empire, once a paragon of civilization, was brought down by a cocktail of internal and external issues. Yet, even in its decline and fall, it sowed the seeds of its enduring legacy. And so, the curtain fell on the Roman Empire, leaving behind a legacy that continues to shape our world today. So the empire fell, but did it really die? Now that's a question to chew on. You see, Rome, like a well-cooked lasagna, has layers. It's a melting pot of influences that still simmer in our modern world. Let's talk language, for instance. Latin, the language of Rome, didn't just vanish, it evolved, influencing the tongues of many nations, like Italian, French, and even English. And then there's law. We owe Rome a debt for many concepts of justice we hold dear today. Things like innocent until proven guilty? That's Rome, folks. Rome's architecture, it's like Rome's greatest hits album, with chart toppers like the Colosseum and aqueducts. Still influencing modern design, Rome's architectural prowess is everywhere. And let's not forget government. The Roman Republic was a blueprint for many of today's democracies. They say Rome fell, but it looks like it just took a long siesta, given its enduring influence. Rome may have fallen, but it never really left us. Now, isn't that a thought for the ages? Like and subscribe for more videos.